What's up, YouTubers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear, and today we're going to be talking about Batman the Lost. I gotta admit, I got my reading order mixed up for this week because I actually thought The Batman Who Laughs came out. So I got up this morning and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to go pick this book up. I get there and it's like, oh no, you got Batman the Lost. And I'm like, huh? Alright, whatever. I mean, it's kind of funny because I want to say it was recently brought up. Shout out to the Krabatex for bringing this up and asking, hey, where the hell was Batman at the end of Devastator? Where's Batman been hiding? Because he is woefully absent. This book is kind of a weird one for me because it really kind of comes down to this really convoluted game of Twilight Zone. It kind of reminds me of movies like Vanilla Sky and, to a lesser extent, Fight Club. Movies that kind of play with the audience's perception of what they actually know is going on. But before we get into it, hit me up in the comments and let me know what comics you'd like me to do a video on. And if this is your first time checking out my channel, hit subscribe so that way you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and make sure you tap that bell button so you can become a part of the notification squad. Picking up this book, we start with what we can only assume is Bruce Wayne, older, distinguished Bruce Wayne, clearly a grandpa at this point. His granddaughter comes into the room, and there's other children running around. We can only assume are other grandchildren, cousins, and stuff like that. And she wants to be read a story. And at first, Bruce is trying to tell her about Zorro, which is one of his favorite superheroes, kind of his inspiration, which is something throughout the years if you keep up with Batman. And she walks over to this wall in his library, his study room, where, we see pictures of Batman unmasked, standing next to what I assume is Commissioner Gordon, a Gotham City Police Department badge with his, with Batman's name on it. We see action figures and stuff like that. And, there's a whole bunch of books. And she picks out a book, and it's called The Case of the Chemical Syndicate. And one of the things I really like about the story is, and what I've been noticing with the writing surrounding the Batman comics lately, is they've been making lots of nods to other stories. And I'm going to talk about this more when I get back to White Knight #2. But one of the books you can kind of see cut off on the edge is clearly The Court of Owls. And of course, to the left of it, No Justice, which might come off as a deep cut to some people, but I think they're making a reference to the Batman v Superman fan edit, which goes by the name Batman v Superman, No Justice. It's a shot in the dark, but I think that's what it is. And when the girl hands him the book, it's supposed to be a book about his first case as Batman. Whatever's going on here, clearly this particular version of Bruce has been outed as Batman, or at least he doesn't make any point to hide the fact that he's Batman. He even tries to get his granddaughter to let him read another story. He brings up The Long Halloween, also another really interesting nod there. And he also even kind of makes a point to say that he has all these books because he had to start writing down his cases and his adventures because he would forget them all. He even makes a joke that half of them contradict the other half, but he promises they all happened. So I thought that was really cool too. But when we get into it, he's working on his first case, and it's clearly a murder mystery, and we even see him in the classic Batman costume where he's even got the purple gloves, like the old school Bob Kane rendition of Batman. And I mean, it's a pretty interesting case, but they jump back and forward a lot in this book because while he's trying to figure out this case, it jumps to what is very clearly maybe caveman times or something similar, like some ancient medieval time. And we're watching this battle go down between these people in different armor motifs, where one of them is wearing a helmet like a bat with a bat symbol on it, and we see someone else wearing hawk feathers and wearing a hawk helmet with the hawk symbol on it. And Batman seeing this, and what I can only presume, I don't think this is Barbados talking to him, but there's a woman in the background who is very mysterious looking. She doesn't really say who she is, but she knows what's going on, and she's explaining the situation. The stuff that we kind of got from the Dark Days one-shots, the Forge and the casting, none of this is really new information. So honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say, go back and watch that video if you want to know more about what's going on there. But she points out that one of the characters is Hoth Set, one of the character wearing the bat armor, and that we also see Hawkman and Hawkgirl, or at least the versions of them then, in the background also fighting amongst the other warriors. We get a scene where Batman is flashed forward into some other particular timeline or some other alternate version where these people come out in these red armored suits and gun down these children who run out before him, thinking that Batman is going to save them. And we find out that one of those people is Damian Wayne, and Damian Wayne calls out Batman saying that, I thought I was the one who was going to bring disgrace to the bat symbol, and turns out it was actually going to be you. You were the one who disgraced the symbol. He even tells his troops to open fire on Batman. It's kind of weird, but like I said, they flash back and forward. I mean, we get to see a shot of Batman kind of going through the eyes of Thomas Wayne, seeing one of the ceremonies that they performed in regards to Barbatos. And it gets really nuts. There's even a scene in here where it's clearly a reference to Gotham City Imposters. It was a video game that came out, I think, on like Xbox 360, PC, and PlayStation 3. I never played it. I think I actually own the game, but never ever actually played it because it just looked like garbage. I mean, I heard it had a pretty decent community, but these are characters who are like kind of mocked up the same way, as like Batman and Green Arrow and Joker and Two-Face. Because the whole point of the game was you were playing as characters who were dressed up like almost like they were cosplaying as characters from Batman and DC Comics as a whole. But but the whole point of this book is that Batman is slipping back and forth between all these different story arcs, like he's trying to get out of this maze inside of his mind or inside the dark multiverse, and every time he starts to get a foothold on the mystery and find a way out, Barbatos changes the game and makes it to where he resets somewhere else. And that's really kind of what's going on here. Even to the point where I think he bounces back and forth between his first case to being back in those ancient times, to being in the future, to being in Gotham City Imposters, to seeing through Thomas Wayne, even seeing through Alan Wayne. And just every single time he thinks he has a foothold on it, Barbatos pulls the rug out from under him. And there's even a point where he winds up in the far-flung future where, or maybe not the far-flung future, but he's in space with Harley Quinn, which we gotta know is kind of a dream because she's trapped herself in one of the Batman Who Laughs machines. But Batman finds his way out of the maze, out of the maze inside of his mind, and as he does so, the little girl, his granddaughter, turns evil as shit, and it's kind of creepy. Like, it almost turns into a horror movie at this point. And she does the whole like elongated arms and jumping and crawling up on the ceiling and the walls and hissing and all this other stuff. And Batman calls out to Barbatos, knowing that he's there, and Barbatos answers, and he lets him know, he's like, hey, the reason why you are what you are, why you have the strength and the accolades and all this stuff, everything that you are, I built it. I am the one who's been helping you from beyond the shadows. And Bruce, because Bruce is a man who believes in doing things on his own steam, he ain't buying it. But I'm not gonna lie, Barbatos makes a very convincing argument. He even shows him some of the other versions of himself, the ones that he didn't handpick to come across from the dark multiverse into our multiverse. And he even shows us some events from Bats Out of Hell, which I haven't touched on it yet. It is a part of Dark Knight's Metal, but I was debating whether to wait until it was all out. But honestly, we're not going to see the next issues, which are like part 3 and part 4 for a little bit. So I'll probably do a video on that next week. But, kind of to tie in with the Batman Who Laughs, because that will be out on the 15th. And I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a really hectic week next week because in Memphis, we have Memphis Comics and Fantasy Convention, which I will be there in capacity for my podcast. So I promise nothing for that weekend, because we also have Justice League and Punisher. There's gonna be a lot of shit going on, so I'm not going to make any promises on what's coming next. But to get back to it, Batman essentially relents when he sees all of his friends, the rest of the Justice League, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, all of them getting their shit pushed in by the Nightmare Batman. Batman he caves. Like, he's mentally and emotionally broken. And we flash back to see him sitting in the chair with his granddaughter, looking normal. And apparently he dozed off. And he picks up the story again as though nothing ever happened. We kind of start to pull away, and we start to see the reflection of Batman, trapped in the center of the dark multiverse, repeating the same story over and over and over again. And that's pretty much where he's been. He has been in the dark multiverse, in the center of it, and he just, that was really it. I feel like this comic wasn't necessary, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a bad read. It's actually not a bad read at all. But I honestly feel like they kind of padded. This a little bit. They padded this a lot, actually. But it's whatever, I don't mind Batman making his little adventure through Never Past Bedtime Land, which I know is kind of a joke that I make about Steve Rogers in Secret Empire, but I feel like it's appropriate here for Batman. So I figure if Never Past Bedtime Land is good enough for Steve Rogers, it's good enough for Bruce Wayne. But anyway, so that is where Batman has been. He has just been on the struggle bus in the center of the dark multiverse. So everyone, let me know what you thought about this issue, and let me know how you feel about the clarification of where Batman has been. Like, do you feel like it was a waste? Do you feel like it was like, okay, well, duh, that's exactly where he was? Like, why did we have this issue? Why could we not just have gotten the Batman Who Laughs today? But let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you click that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell button so you can become part of the notification squad. Once again, thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Plus Ultra.